Continuing from where we had last left off. Let's see, in class, and then I think this is the one that I was on. So yes.
What class was class 17?
Uh,
Mines aren't like labeled by class.
Oh, yours aren't.
I kind of forget.
This one would have been. I can give you the date. Uh, 17 was March 22nd.
Was that the kick snare?
No, this was. Let's see. I think what this was. Hold on. Oh, I think on 17 we did. I think 17 was before we did that. I think 17 was the day we were just. I think we were. Well, actually, to be honest, it looks like we didn't even import audio. It looks like for the class 17 day, we just walked through some tool functions.
Tool functions?
Yeah, some tool functions. Is anybody else missing a class 17? No. Does everybody else have it? Yeah. It might have been. I know you missed a few days.
Yeah.
One of those days was. Yeah, gosh, because I think we had a conversation after you came back, and I said, "This is what you missed on that particular day." And I think it may have been session importing. Yeah, but actually, when I look at it, my class 17 doesn't actually have a audio files in it.
Oh, okay, yeah, I have that one. Because I opened one of mine and it didn't have it.
Yeah. I think in addition to that, there were some MIDI days, but I think you guys already turned in all the MIDI. Well, let me real quick just run you through what again you should be doing at the moment after you have those files moved over. So continuing on with the Ice Age project, you have your spotting notes, and your spotting notes should be calling out the identifying locations for your sounds. So you're literally just going to be going in and grabbing the sounds that you identify as the appropriate ones based upon your spotting note and cues, and you're building essentially your Ice Age clip based upon that information. So you're dropping the location for the hits and the footsteps and things like that. So I'm going to come around and just check up, make sure you guys are okay, but you're literally just going into the clip list, identifying that. Like let's say we're doing the digging sound, and you're going to drag and drop it according to the actual clip lane that you should be using. So like we had separated scratch effects or scrat effects from scrat voice. So if it's a scrat effect, we just have to map out the sync point and put it in using spot mode, and then you can go through and just make sure that it identified with the right appropriate location. had 16, 18,
Yeah.
and then one last call project.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I forget what states you missed. I can look it up. You okay? You're all good? You okay? Yeah. Cool. Just locating your stuff.
Yeah.
As far as your Ice Age project goes, how was that looking?
It's fine.
Fine, okay. Alright, I'm gonna drop, just so that I can keep up with you guys, I'm actually gonna drop my audio in as well so that I can show you guys the next phase as we get into it. Hey guys. So we're picking up where we left off. You're basically, Miles, you're mapping out your spotting notes. Essentially, you're taking those clips and dropping them in using your spotting numbers.
Okay.
Did you finish the spotting notes at least? Did you get through that part? Okay, so you're still working on it?
Yeah.
Basically, what you're going to do, I don't know if I mentioned this when you were in class, but once you have the numbers you need, if you switch to spot mode, and then literally find the clip that you want, grab it, bring it in and drop it, it'll ask you for time. And all you're going to do is drop in, put it in the sync point box, because we created the sync points on the clips, and then you're literally just typing the time.
Okay.
And then it'll drop it to that location. So like if you, in this instance, I think I'm at 19 or 23. Let's say I do 0, let's see, zero this out. Do 24, and then hit OK. And then what you'll just see that it drops that clip onto wherever you were trying to drop it. It just puts it in that amount of time. So, oh, whoops, sorry. I think I put zeros on this one, so it's like way out.
And then when I'm doing the spotting, should I go off of the sounds that are in the clip list? Or do I kind of think about what sounds I would need and then find a sound like that in the clip list?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the clip list sounds are not 100% like identifiable to the sounds that you're hearing.
Okay.
Some of them are a little different. So you're gonna preview the things that you might want to use in the clip list by holding Option. If you hold Option, and so you're gonna kind of have to sort them out. But if you hold Option, it turns into this little speaker icon,
Okay.
and you can click on a file and listen to it. That way you're like, oh, this is the one I want to use, and then choose that and pick it out and drop it in that spot.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Hanif, you missed Monday, right?
Yeah.
Did you miss Wednesday before we went on spring break?
I think so. Yeah, I was kind of out of town for a while.
Okay, so you don't have your you haven't started the Ice Age project at all. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're basically going to pull it off of the MTL server. So if you can get onto the MTL server, then you basically need to copy this file under my name. It says Ice Age project, and so like on the MTL server, you're just gonna go to my name, Ice Age project, copy it over to your own folder for now.
Okay.
Let me know once you've done that, because there's a bunch of other stuff that we'll have to do.
Check to see if I have. Oh shoot.
Let's see. Okay, I'm getting the spotting notes sheet for you. So there's a sign-in sheet floating around somewhere. Not very fancy, so. Sorry, let me do one more thing here. So what you're gonna do is open up the session, and then we just need to import, get in there, video. So there's a video clip in yes, there's a video clip in the back over here. Import that. I don't think it's. Everybody else on task, okay? Cool, looks good. Yeah, coming together. Raise your hand if you have any questions. You can hit skip all. And you're gonna go to File, Import Video, Video, and then bring in wherever you saved your stuff. So go find your folder. Yeah. Hit OK, and then the next folder, the next thing, save. Master word, save it. Hit open. Should be fine. You don't have to click it. What you're gonna do is your first step here is you're gonna be basically taking sound effects that we have, and you're gonna be bringing them in to recreate the sound effects that are in this original clip. Okay. So what you need to do, first you can actually do the import of the sound effects real quick, like on your file, and import audio, and you're actually going to go navigate to the folder that this project's in. So it looks like you could actually go back a step or two. You click that, and then go to the top iSaves project. Yeah, and then there should be a sound effects folder. Yeah, right there. And then hit the first one, hold Shift, and hit the last one, so that, or you can actually hit Command anything. No, it didn't do it. Just hold Shift and click the last one in. Yep, and then just hit Convert All, and then hit Done, and then hit Open, and then it'll ask you where you want to put them. And then what I think I want to say to you is, instead of new track, hit Clip List. So we're going to deal with those, okay? We're going to deal with those a little bit later. So what you're going to do first is you're basically going to be watching this, taking notes with this spotting note thing, and marking off when in the time code you need specific sound effects. So you're going to write the time code number and then the specific sound effect that you need. If you go to Window, you can open up the big counter. Up here, big counter. And then just click on it, make sure it's set to the time code. Okay, and then start from the beginning. Start from the beginning, and literally what you'll do is actually hit that A to Z. What you do is you'll watch through it and find out certain timings, okay? A couple tools with this. Move the window down, the video window down over the corner real quick. A couple tools that you're going to use are slip mode, and then you're going to go to, this little button right there, activate that little button. What this will do is allow you to, whenever you stop, it'll hold the time code, it'll stop where you stop. And then you're going to use a nudge value. So like if you're like, hey, I need to figure out where his hop is, so you can write it down. You can use period. You remember nudging, we've done it before in comma. You just need to switch your nudge value up here, so it's 1 frame. Click it, just click on it, the arrow, there's like a little arrow, and then select 1 frame. And then all you're going to do is you're gonna cycle through and try to find like the exact time. Don't click it, don't click again. So like you're gonna try to find the exact moment. Like, oh, he's about to slam is that number. And that's what you write here, you write, oh, I need a sound effect for him hitting the air horn. You need to go through a full minute, okay? So you're gonna take notes on your first full minute. So far, so good. I'll be right back. Yes, sir.
How many time notes do you have?
Spy notes?
Yeah.
Well, you should have quite a few. Like so far, I'm only at the 4-second mark. I've already had 1, 2, go ahead, 6.
Oh, okay.
So let's see, because you have to account for basically everything. So like,
Yeah.
if you go back, if you walk through it slowly, you'll notice. Oops. You'll notice if I started here, here's hop 1. So it's feet on the ground 1. So there's 1.
Okay.
Here's hop 2. So he lands. There's hop 2. So we need 0, 0, 13. And we need the next hop. The next hop. There's a sniff right here. He goes whatever. He just sniffs, and then right after he sniffs, I just put in a little voice because he goes. Mm. And then after that, he does a wind up. So he does like a wind up, and then he stabs the ground, boom, and then he wiggles it, wiggle, 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 and then he jumps. So you need essentially you're marking off all of these points.
Okay.
Yeah, like everything you need to hear. Because you'll notice if you then go mute the track and you play it in silence, you realize, oh, this is all the stuff that needs to go in there. Does that make sense? How are we doing so far, guys? Did you start syncing yet?
Yes.
You start? Okay. Let me just come around and see. How far you got to almost to where the ground's about to crack. Okay. Okay, so you already have the avalanche stuff on, right? Okay, cool, good, great. Yeah, this is a little bit more of a tedious process. How far did you get? You got your, oh yeah, that's right. So you're in the avalanche section, you already passed it. In it, okay. Chad, where are you at?
The ice cracking.
Cool, okay. Honey, if you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Professor Casas.
Yes, sir.
My video engine keeps on it keeps on saying video engine was unable to stop.
So like when it plays,
Yeah, it'll lag, it'll have like a little pop up.
okay. Maybe actually, have you tried closing out of it yet?
Yeah, I already did. This went back to the same thing. It worked for a little bit, but
No, we had an issue with that on somebody's machine last week. Let's see, run it. Oh, shoot.
it's saving everything. Not as close as we started last time.
Yeah. Did you? I'm trying to think what the last fix was. You already saved?
Yeah.
Try running it now. Well, what did it say? Oh, quit. Hit quit and then just reopen it. You have to reopen it. I don't know if it's the clock was in the wrong position.
Oh, what's that?
So like it was set to like the internal clock has, or the way that it's set up is it's clock through an optical clock or an ADAC clock.
Mm-hmm.
The ADAC clock is one that we normally use. So like I don't know if maybe it's an issue with the clocking system, but that's how it knows how many samples per second there are.
Oh,
It uses like this internal clock mechanism. It just happened to be on the wrong one. So let's hope that that fixes it. Otherwise, you might have to reboot.
and then are we still follow our projects?
Yeah, you're basically
Class
gonna.
sessions, so we still.
You're copying your class session projects to today. I'm going to have you guys copy them to the MTL server.
Okay. And what class did we go up from?
15, 16, 17, 18, and then there's a one last project file.
Okay.
Yeah, so just take the whole folders of those. You already have a folder with your name on it in the MTL. So
Oh, yeah.
from last time, so you just over there.
Okay.
Let me know when you're good to see you. Did everybody sign in today? So far, so good? All right, let's talk a little bit. Let's just take a quick time out because I know you're going to continue working on this. I know it's quite a bit to tackle. Hopefully by next week we can get into modifying and working on these, kind of touching them up. I know there's not a ton of time, so we could take more time to be a little more accurate. But I want to talk about a couple things with the Audio Suite engine. As you may have noticed, not all of your sounds necessarily are ideal, or not all of them necessarily fit the way that you would like to use them. And in certain instances, you're going to have to use the sounds several times over, right? So like the hopping sound, there is more than one hop taking place. So what we're going to do, you're not necessarily going to have to do it today, but next week what we're going to do with it is we're going to do things like manipulating it with the Audio Suite. Because if you kind of go into it knowing, oh, we're going to manipulate the audio, the sound effects with the Audio Suite, then you kind of understand, well, it's going to be okay if I repeat the hopping sound right now because what I'm going to do is modify it later. So, for example, let me get out of this real quick. What I did with the, with this initial hop scene is I used this kind of, the dorky kind of springy hop that we had. Which was this. And I only used the front end of it. Let's see if I get back to it. Just this piece. So I ended up cutting the clip like right before it makes that spring sound. And then instead of having it go boing on the end of it, I just put a boom. So together they do this. Now, it needs a little more of a knock, so I may actually end up, I think what I might want to do is put one more thing layered underneath of it to get there. But watch what I'm going to do with this. Obviously it repeats. So what I'm going to do with this to make this not feel repetitive is I'm actually going to pitch shift using the Audio Suite. So I'm going to highlight these clips. I'm going to highlight this clip and this clip. And I'm going to go Audio Suite. And in the pitch shift category, there's this little pitch 2 guy. And all I have to do is change the ratio, hit preview, and render it. Hear the shift. My video is not catching up very well. It's kind of behind. But... And then there's that final big stomp. So what I'm going to do is with the final one, it's the same clip repeated over and over again. So all I did was copy paste the same group. But if I go to the pitch and I drop it again, and sorry, my ambience is a little loud, so let me pull that down. Now I'm going to switch out this whatever this impact or reverb thing is. Probably switch this out. It's kind of funny sounding. But if I go in and I go to pitch shift, let me see what we can do with this. Now, in the same way, after that happened, I went immediately right into ice crack. But you probably noticed, oh, it's weird because the ice crack only lasts so long. So what I ended up doing is I just duplicated the ice crack. So maybe you ended up doing this yourself when you're setting up your ice crack set. So this is what I ended up doing. I ended up duplicating the ice crack. Okay, so I hit Command D to duplicate. The issue is if you run them back to back, this is what it sounds like. Right? Did you notice they're identical? So what I did instead is I left the first one and I double-clicked the second one, took it to Audio Suite, and went down to the other category and flipped it in reverse. Now what happens when you take a clip and repeat it and then flip the second version of it in reverse, they actually seamlessly match end to end because the original clip, at the end of the original clip, it would have started over to the beginning of that original clip, but because you repeated it and then you flipped it over, it actually goes from the beginning to the end of that clip, and then in the next clip, it's backwards, and it starts at the end of that clip, and it goes back to the beginning, which makes it actually fluidly linked together. So see how they look right now. As soon as I reverse it, you'll see how all of a sudden it's this middle section right here. This joint is literally the same thing. So running them back to back isn't as obvious because watch what happens. You see how that worked out? Because in one version, it allowed us to kind of to have it running forward, and the next one, it runs backward, and it fluidly feels like it's connected to the original clip. Now, all I have to do now is an additional trick. And the reason I'm showing you this is so you have an idea of where we're going to go with your clip. So, like in the avalanche, we can do a couple of things, and I think so for next week, this will be kind of our big task. I'm going to drop the pitch shift, the plugin for the pitch shift on the actual track, and then I'm going to say, well, let's go ahead and add in the automation. You guys remember doing plugin automation? We're going to add in the automation for where that pitch is. And what I'm going to do is in this section of the track, hopefully you remember some of this, all I'm going to do is write it in freehand and lower the pitch coming into this part of the, let's do that. Oh, let's do this without the pencil. Now, you kind of hear it up top in the high frequencies being weird. So actually what I'm going to do then is I'm going to use an EQ to filter out that. I don't know if you're noticing, it kind of makes a weird sound at the top. So I'll end up doing a low pass filter, and I'm going to choose the low pass filter, low pass frequency to then be automated. And I'm going to do the same thing here and write it in so that it dips down towards the end. A little faster. Sorry. And actually what I'll probably do just right here, because I can, actually I'll write this in, this, is I might actually just go before this last pass when he's like freaking out. You can see in his eyes he's not super excited about what's about to happen. So I'm going to duplicate this one more time. And what do we do to make it fluid? Oops, not that. I duplicated it, punched it in reverse, and then I'm going to let that pitch stay down. And I'm going to bring this frequency down so the frequency stays down nice and filtered low. I like that. I might keep that. I might want to duplicate it one more time. And again, in order to make it sound fluid or feel fluid, I got to reverse it so that the tail ends of them connect. So watch when we get through this part. Now I just need to extend it there. I hadn't necessarily got it all the way to the end. And we can go lower. You hear how it's kind of rumbly down there? What I can do is if I go lower throughout, so notice how we're going to do this. I'm going to just change this a little bit filter-wise. Actually, I might just peel this back just a touch. If I go lower with the filter frequency and then at the same time go to the volume automation just for this last part here and push it, should get us in that right spot. So let's see. Yeah, I think the only other thing is I might want to run it one more time. Sorry, I'm liking how this, again, if you duplicate it, you just got to reverse it back. Oops, just going to slide this back. A little off with that part. Now you guys got a lot of ice cracking to do, if you noticed. So you're going to end up when we really build this. What we're going to do is we're going to end up filtering them, and then through automating an EQ in the end, and then we're going to end up needing to do a lot of pitch shifting in order to kind of make them somewhat unique, because we only have, if you notice, your ice cracking clip is only so long. So we'll end up kind of cutting them up in order to make this feel like a fluid event. But again, obviously because of time, we didn't really get that part knocked out. So we're going to start off with this on Monday, hopefully move into the audio suite. Before you leave today, if you can, just try to merge over those sessions into the MTL server folder. Were there any questions? I know you guys worked very diligently on this. It's kind of just repetitive matching, syncing, adjusting, bumping. We haven't done any crossfades yet. We haven't done any finalized adjustments to the steps. We still got a long ways to go. We should be done by next week as far as like what we can do in the scope of the class. Thoughts, ideas? You guys okay? Were you guys learning by doing this at all? Kind of get some good experience with it? Okay. Well, when you guys are good, get this stuff in, and then I'll see you Monday. Cool. Good. All right. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully it's nice and sunny without all the wind. Let's get this out. Let's get this out. Into out. Disconnect.
Yeah, I can't turn it in.
Which one?
Project submissions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what Damaris was just saying that. So I just went ahead and said, go ahead and drop it back into your original Chad folder
Oh, yeah.
on the MTL. So like you guys get Miles and Hanif, when you guys submit those, you can put them on your name folder that's on the MTL server from the last time you submitted your projects.
Okay. Which one was class 15?
I don't know. Class 15 looked like it was because I don't have my note. I didn't bring my notebook in that had that information in, but I have the
I just turned in
whatever was on there.
Yeah.
Let me see. I could tell you in like 2 seconds.